Hello, it's Grant Hughes in a very snowy day in Texas. Today, we're talking about Debrah Sampson, um, who fought in the American Revolution. Deborah was born December 17th, 1960, in Plimpton, Massachusetts. Growing up, she didn't have either parent. She was abandoned at birth, but she did later find that she um, fell in love with her country. Um, when the Revolutionary War broke out, she wanted to fight, but obviously, as a woman back then, she wasn't allowed to. So she decided to disguise herself as a man and change her name to Robert Shirtliff. Now, in she did this in 1782 when the Revolutionary War was in basically in full effect. Um, she was in West Point when she was assigned to Captain George Webb's company of the Light Infantry. She was given the dangerous task of scouting neutral territories to assess British buildup, to see how many men they had, their material that they had in Manhattan. Um, they did this because George Washington was actually considering attacking this, and her and others were sent to scout it out to see how um, if it was a good idea or how much the people needed the soldiers needed to bring to make it a successful attack. She didn't only took orders though; she actually gave them. Sampson and two sergeants actually led a infantry of about 30 men on different expeditions in June of 1782. Ultimately, though, good things must come to an end. She was discovered about a year and a half after her entering the service in Philadelphia when she became ill during the epidemic that was happening at that time. She lost consciousness. She was taken into a hospital, and that's where she was discovered. She did, however, receive a honorable discharge on October 23rd, 1983. After that, she returned back home to Massachusetts, where she then, 2 years later, married a man named Benjamin Gamut, um, and then later had three children. However, that's not where the story ends. She was later then she was had a book written about her in 1797 by Herman Maine called The Female Review, or it was also called Memoirs of an American Young Lady. She then received military pensions from the state of Massachusetts, and she spent most of her life as after that as a typical farm wife because Benjamin was a farmer. However, in 1802, she began a long term of lecturing. She toured as a lecturer about her experience, which is she was actually the first woman to do so in America. In some of those, she was even in full military regalia. She then passed away on April 29th, 1827. 4 years after that, her husband was continuing to petition Congress to send him his pension for a spouse of a soldier, um, because even though he wasn't married to her at the time of service, he was still married to her at one point. Um, in 1837, the committee concluded that the history of the Revolution, quote, flourished no other similar example of female heroism, um, fidelity, and courage. He was then awarded the money. However, he had already passed away at the time, by the time they let him have the money. Debrah Sampson is definitely one of those figures that you don't hear about in history class. However, you really should. It's an amazing story. She was definitely an amazing woman, and hopefully in the future, uh, her story will be told more often and to more people. Thank you.